According to an article on Fresno State's news page entitled Transformative Two-Year Grant to Promote Portuguese Legacy in the Valley, quote, nearly 350,000 Portuguese Americans live in California, the highest population of any state according to the 2016 U.S. Census Bureau survey, end quote. We actually have a lot of these Portuguese Americans to thank for our agricultural booming success. As, quote, large numbers of Portuguese people moved to Central California and engaged in fruit, vegetable, and dairy farming, creating the second largest concentration of Americans claiming Portuguese ancestry, according to the Library of Congress, end quote. As students here at Fresno State, we value diversity in learning. Therefore, this speech is going to combine two things that you love. You will learn about a new culture, or a culture that you may not know about that is really thriving here on campus. As a student enrolled in a Portuguese culture class here on campus, and after having done extensive research preparing for this speech, I feel that I'm credible to tell you about the new Portuguese department here on campus. Fresno State's new Portuguese Beyond Borders Institute is an exciting new development that will preserve and pass on Portuguese stories, language, and culture in the Central Valley. Today I will inform you about the Portuguese Beyond Borders Institute on campus, what it is, why it matters, and where it's headed. According to an article on Fresno State's news page, November 15th of 2018, Fresno State received a 2-year grant for $130,000 from the Luso-American Development Foundation. This is a Portuguese company that was founded in 1985, and it supports projects in Portugal and the U.S. that promote sharing the country's language and culture with the United States. According to the same article, this $130,000 grant is going to be split two ways between two different projects. So $100,000 will go towards funding a new project here at Fresno State called the Portuguese American Oral History Project. This project is focused on transcribing and recording the stories of Portuguese Americans here in the Central Valley. So they will conduct, case studies and interviews just to get the stories of people that may not be recorded. These stories will be collected and then kept permanently in the Henry Madden Library. The remaining $30,000, I'm actually really excited. They're going to be starting a new speaker series in order to, quote, highlight the success of Azorian and Portuguese farmers, business entrepreneurs, politicians, and artists, end quote. And their hope is that it will, quote, not only inspire students and the community, but also bring current global topics to life, end quote. Alongside the new launch, there will also be a new Portuguese language and culture courses here on campus, such as the Portuguese culture class that I'm currently taking with Professor Inês Lima. According to Professor Lima, there will also be more Portuguese courses appearing in subsequent semesters, such as a course specifically on the Azores, which are a group of islands off the coast of Portugal that is where most of the Portuguese community in the Central Valley is actually from. And then there will also be Portuguese literature and advanced Portuguese offered soon, which would result in a minor. So why is it important that we have a new Portuguese department here on campus? I wanted to find out about what the significance of having something in the Central Valley was and why it should be at Fresno State. And so I was able to interview Professor Lima, and I asked her about the importance of having a Portuguese department here on campus. Here's what she had to say.
So it's very important, first of all, several reasons. The first reason is the fact that Portuguese language is the third global language in the world. When we speak about global languages, we're speaking about languages that are official languages in several countries, in several continents. For example, Mandarin is the language that is spoken by most people in the world. However, it's only an official language in China, whereas English, Spanish, Portuguese are official languages of several countries spread around the globe. So it's you are able to not only communicate with these countries all over the world, but also know about ancient cultures, Portugal, Spain, the British Isles, France. It's one of the oldest countries, and actually became a country in 1143. Portugal is almost 1,000 years old. So it's an opportunity to be in contact with different people from different parts of the world, increase your job opportunities. Speaking about this particular region now, bringing the importance of Portuguese for this particular region, Portuguese communities have shaped California's history for over centuries. I've just spoken to a person who his parents arrived from the Azores during the gold rush era. So, you know, the Portuguese have been part of this community for centuries, and still today you have many entrepreneurs, many cultural associations, people working in health, in arts, in business, in this state. So for students who are, you know, trying to become professionals, this is a passport for better job prospects as well.
Mm-hmm. So as Professor Lima just said, Portuguese is the third largest global language in the world. Sometimes we as English speakers fall into believing that we don't need to learn a second language because English is spoken everywhere. However, so are a lot of other languages. And it's important that we try, at least, to learn other languages so that we can really expand our own opportunities and not hold ourselves back. According to an article written by a States Gazette in 2016 entitled, "Welcome to the California of Europe," Portugal is actually quickly becoming the new California, as they call it, because of their, quote, rock-bottom rents, residential tax breaks, and a rise of coffee-fueled startup districts, end quote. And specifically Lisbon, which is the capital of Portugal, is becoming a hub for the new tech scene. Before taking a Portuguese culture class this semester, I really knew nothing about Portuguese culture in general, and I for sure had no idea about the thriving Portuguese history and culture that we have here in the Central Valley. I'd never even heard of anyone taking a Portuguese culture class or even a Portuguese language class, and yet according to an article from All Letters Journal of Language and Literature 2018 and an article entitled "Portuguese is in from less commonly taught to critical to world language," Rhode Island, quote, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Utah, Florida, Georgia, and California are the states with the greatest number of children studying Portuguese currently, end quote. According to an article posted on Fresno State College of Arts and Humanities Portuguese Beyond Border Institute's page, on March 13th, 300 high schoolers from around the Central Valley that are studying Portuguese came to Fresno State to hear about the new Portuguese department. The schools that these students represented were, quote, Tulare Union, Tulare Western, Mission Oak, Hillmar High School, and Turlock High School, end quote. According to a qualitative case study published in the Interdisciplinary Journal of Portuguese Diaspora Studies 2016 entitled "My Country, My Pain, My Child, My Love, Aging Azorians in San Jose, California, and Ancestral Homeland Return and Mobilities," many Azorians came to California after there was a large volcanic eruption. And then, well, in the U.S., they still clung to their rich heritage in many ways, be it through their love of agriculture, which is also really big in the Azores, dance, making maps of the Azores and putting them up in their homes, or just sharing their stories and their food from the Azores. So Portuguese people love to share about their culture, and this new oral history project hopes to capture those stories and preserve them forever. So now that we've discussed a little bit about what's going on currently with this project, what's going to happen next? So where are we headed? This is only the beginning for the Portuguese department on campus. As you heard, we have at least a 2-year grant, so yay! And according to Professor Lima, eventually it is planned that there will be a minor offered in Portuguese as well as study abroad programs in both Portugal and the Azores. As she herself studied abroad in Paris, she seemed really excited about that, so that was nice. For the 2 projects that are being funded by the Luso-American Development Foundation, there will be 3 departments on campus working on those: the College of Arts and Humanities, the Jordan College of Agricultural Sciences and Technology, and then the College of Social Sciences. In conclusion, Fresno State's new Portuguese Beyond Borders Institute is an exciting new development that will preserve and pass on Portuguese stories, language, and culture here in the Central Valley. I told you about the Institute, what it is, why it matters, and where it's headed. And at the beginning of this speech, I gave you a statistic from the 2016 U.S. Census Bureau survey that suggests that there are 350,000 Portuguese Americans living right here in California. I hope that now you are more informed about the Portuguese Americans living right here in the Central Valley, and I hope that you are more inclined to learn more and to participate in the new speaker series that will be on campus soon.